What up? It's your brother from another cowabunga. Yeah, what's up? Today is July 15th, 2019. And my feed on my camera is fast. I'm checking out right now. Checking on this feed right now. I got my shirt off. Yes. Why? Because it's hot. It's in the middle of the summertime. And I got an AC. So rock with me on that. What I got right here, man, breaking news, brand spanking new, old news, because you know how black people do sometimes. We get the news and it's a little too late. For instance, it's July 15th, 2019, right now. And I'm reading this information about Juneteenth from 2019. Why am I late? All for good reason. That's why I'm here to let you know. Okay, so I'm going to read you this article about Juneteenth this year and what's behind Juneteenth, what is the future of Juneteenth, and where we stand right now with Juneteenth. So here we go. I got this from Spectrum. Here we go. Urban Spectrum. Denver Urban Spectrum. This is volume 33, number 3 from June 2019. Spreading the news about people of color. And of course, everybody has a color when you live in a classist system. So here we go. Here's the article. Music brings light to a darker time of African American history. On September 22nd, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln signed a preliminary executive order that would free slaves from rebellious Confederate states and enable them to enlist in the Union Army. The order was officially issued on January 1st, 1863, 3 years into the bloodiest war this nation has ever seen. The new state of Texas, established in 1845, was not a battleground state and was thus excluded from the proclamation, prompting droves of slave owners to take refuge in the isolated Western Territory to protect their right to slave ownership. On June 19, 1865, 2 months after General Robert E. Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant in the Civil War's final battle of Appomattox Courthouse, led by General Gordon Granger, 2,000 Union Army soldiers occupied the city of Galveston, Texas, after an expansive trek across the southern states. Granger publicly recited the contents of General Order Number 3. Quoted on that. General Order Number 3, quotation end. Announcing the immediate emancipation of Texas slave population, which had surged to more than 250,000 slaves. People, bodies, minds, hearts, sweat, blood, and tears, etc. Within 2 years, newly freed slaves took to the streets, celebrating the status that would be solidified by Texas Supreme Court decisions between 1868 and 1874. The celebration, dubbed Juneteenth, was a momentous occasion filled with excitement, relief, and uncertainty about the days ahead. My, what could they be so uncertain about? Between 1865, when the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States, and 1868, more than 500 former slaves were brutally murdered in the state of Texas by hostile whites who opposed the idea of equality and would rather see blacks dead than free. In response to increasing violence in the unstable South, the federal government established the Freedmen's Bureau, an agency that assisted former slaves in the transition to freedom during the Reconstruction era. So the federal government established the Freedmen's Bureau. Okay, interesting. In an effort to boost morale and continue the celebration of freedom, the agency helped organized the first official Juneteenth celebration in 1867. So 100 years later, in 1967, that's 100 years for Juneteenth. So it'll be 200 years in 2067. Just do some math. Juneteenth is celebrated each year in mid-June in cities across the United States and around the world to commemorate the abolition of slavery and give credence to the interminable spirit of African slaves and their descendants who have faced crushing oppression in this country for more than 400 years. Today, Juneteenth is recognized as a state holiday in every state with the exception of Hawaii, Montana, New Hampshire, South Dakota, and North Dakota. In Colorado, recognition of Juneteenth was initiated by Otha P. Rice, a Texas native who launched the first celebration in 1953 at Rice's Tap Room and Oven in Denver's historically black Five Points neighborhood. In 2011, the organization of the Juneteenth event was assumed by longtime Five Points resident Norman Harris III, whose family has been thoroughly entrenched in the Five Points community for generations. Harris, who has seen the transition of the neighborhood over the last 25 years, is working to bring a new energy to the event. His efforts are paying off with this year's two-day music festival on Saturday, June 15th and Sunday, June 16th, expected to be the biggest yet, and he is urging Colorado's black community to get involved in the celebration and in the fight for our legacy of strength, determination, and perseverance. Pause, I'm going to come back to the reading in a moment. But that right there is the reason, and the reason why I'm struck with trying to share this message right now to you, because just to break through the silence, I missed it this year, man. I did, and I'm not happy about it. I am not excited and happy about it. But I'm going to take this opportunity right now to send it out to my friends and to my family, everybody who's connected with me. Doesn't matter what color you are at this point, because it really doesn't matter. But if you are historically black, if you are a person of color and celebrate freedom the way it ought to be celebrated in this country, from the perspective of somebody who knows what it is to have freedom taken away from them, then I urge you to get ready for next year's 2020. Because I'm doing that right now. And I'm sharing this information to you right now, and I'm urging you to just prep yourselves. Make it an obligation to make it to next year's 2020. I'm so excited right now about the future, and I'm so disappointed that I missed this one, because wait till you hear about the rest of this. Here we go. 5 Points, known as the Harlem of the West. If you know anything about, what is it, Knights of the Apollo, or, I'm sorry, what's the movie with Eddie Murphy, man? I think that's what it is. If you know anything about that, if you know anything about Harlem, period. I got my grandpa was from Harlem. Grew up in Harlem and bore a son who's my dad in Brooklyn. But he was from Harlem. If you know anything about Harlem, okay, bring it to the West. And yeah, let's go. So, 5 Points, known as the Harlem of the West, gained notoriety as Denver's predominantly black community when discriminatory lending practices kept black families from living in other neighborhoods around the city. Denver, Colorado, ladies and gentlemen, Denver, Colorado. The community was a thriving business district that housed dozens of bars and clubs where Billie Holiday, Miles Davis, Nat King Cole, and other jazz legends performed, making it the perfect location for the first Juneteenth celebration and for the 64 annual celebrations that have followed. 64. I'm not even 64 years old yet. Throughout the years, I can do 64 push-ups though. Holler at me. Throughout the years, several community leaders have been tasked with the organization of Denver's Juneteenth, which was once regarded as the largest in the country. but with changing demographics amid turbulent social landscapes. The event was on life support when Harris began the process of revival. As he works to reestablish Denver's Juneteenth celebration as the premier black festival celebration in the country, Harris is fighting to preserve the legacy of Juneteenth while keeping the spirit of 5 Points alive. Don't worry, 5 Points is alive, but it is on life support. I'll tell you why in a moment. This is a message for people who are not aware. People who know what's up, you already know where I'm headed. But if you don't, just listen closely. In the 154 years since the end of slavery, the black community has undergone a series of shameful impediments, including mass incarceration, suppressive poverty, and inequities in the housing, educational, and economic sectors. Over time, these obstacles have contributed to the broad disbursement and destabilization of black communities in cities across the United States. Within the last 40 years, the gentrification of historically black communities has produced yet another barrier to the community's advancement. A phenomenon that has struck our own beloved city especially hard. Gentrification occurs when people leave deteriorated neighborhoods in search of better housing and educational opportunities, resulting in plummeting property values. Developers quickly acquire the remaining properties at rock bottom prices, restore them to appeal to a more affluent population, and then original inhabitants are subsequently driven out due to increased prices. Sorry. Combined with the illegal practice of redlining, the systematic refusal of funding for homes in impoverished communities, gentrification makes it virtually impossible for original residents to remain in the neighborhoods they have historically inhabited. The historic cultural district of 5 Points now hosts a population of more than 77% white residents. Let me give you a clue. In Colorado, the whole state is already, I believe, because I've looked, 77 to 80% white. The entire state. So gentrification is working because the historically black district of 5 Points now hosts a population of more than 77% white residents. So how many of the original OGs are in that sector? Around 30% or less. Original. Continuing, and Harris is among a group of community leaders who are fighting to preserve the cultural value of the community. He quotes, "It feels like we've got this defeated spirit, like we come from nothing. Our grandparents and great-grandparents worked hard and saved to pass." I'm pretty sure I just caught a fly. No, I didn't. Dang it. Sorry. "It feels like we've got this defeated spirit, like we come from nothing. Our grandparents and great-grandparents worked hard and saved to pass some of these properties down to our generation. Properties, land ownership, equity, eminent domain. Excuse me. These things that we should be learning about in school, but we're not, especially for the young ones. We need to know this stuff. Moving forward. They worked hard to save to pass some of these properties down to our generation, and somewhere along the line, we've forgotten those values. Right. Due to, let's go back real quick. Let's see. Mass incarceration due to lack of educational opportunities, economic opportunities, inequities in housing, suppressive poverty. All these things are a connection to the lack of remembering the values. Oh my God, these flies. The lack of values, the lack of remembering the values of keeping on and holding on and preserving what is yours originally. So with that, Now you see clear as day the struggle is real, ladies and gentlemen. Back to it. Everything that I'm doing in 5 points. These flies, oh my god, did you see it land on my nose? It's one fly, actually. It's one fly. Anyway, focus up. Here we go. Everything that I'm doing in 5 points comes from a place of being an underdog. I've got a chip on my shoulder. Every day I've got something to prove and a legacy to fight for. Imagine living like that day to day. That's how we're supposed to be living. That's how I started organizing Juneteenth. We took the opportunity and invested our time and money into it. End quote. Harris's vision of the Juneteenth Music Festival mimics the empowering and all-encompassing Mega Essence Festival in New Orleans. If you haven't been to Essence Festival in New Orleans, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But I went. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, thank you, Arthur Franklin. Hopefully you're cool with me putting you on blast. But you took me down there in 2005, my senior year of high school. I was 17. 1 month before Katrina came through and decimated it, I was down there in Essence. I was during the Essence Festival in New Orleans, and wow, blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. It'll blow you away too. No matter what color you are, it'll totally blow you away because you'll see what's up. Anyway, Harris's vision for the Juneteenth Music Festival mimics the empowering and all-encompassing Mega Essence Festival in New Orleans, with seminars and city events that support the traditional festival setup and contribute to the advancement of the community. This year, health and beauty symposiums, dude, brushing your teeth, hair products, everything that you need to keep your joint together, they got it. Health and beauty symposiums, day parties for the kids, of course, and gaming tournaments. We'll add entertainment and education to the music festival, which will be headlined by Grammy Award-winning R&B recording artist and songwriter Ashanti and singer-songwriter Ro James. The festival will kick off with the annual Juneteenth Parade, which begins at Manual High School. It's on the east side of Denver. The lineup of performers will include local and national talents, including Kayla Ray, she's fantastic, with DJ Squizzy Taylor, Trev Rich, AP, L Keys, BH2 Dots, and Doobie Newton. What a name. Dot Sero, jazz, Soul School, Hot Lunch, DJ K-Tone, and friends with Dream is Grind. J Triple? What? J Triple went? Shireko, Mandy Groves, Napalm, and many more. Damn, I'm so mad I missed this, man. I'm telling you, this is why I'm going to next year. I'm making failure not an option in this plan. It's happening, and I'm urging you, my friend. I'm urging you, get your shit together. Sorry, get all your stuff, pack it all up in a van, or a covered wagon. Put on there Juneteenth or bust. Harlem, in parentheses, of the West or bust. Put it on your covered wagon and get yourself up here. June next year. Do it. Anyway, we need, quote unquote, we need community and corporate support, says Harris. I'm thinking about my friends who are working in corporate right now. I'm blue collar, baby. I'm not corporate right now. But I know some people who are corporate. Lace up your sneaks and you put your tie on. Button all the way up. Come on, man. Let's go. We need community and corporate support, says Harris, who is working overtime to make sure this year's Juneteenth Music Festival goes down without a hitch. We need advocacy. We need people to share information. We're still grassroots, so we need people to volunteer, and we need people to donate. Food will be plentiful, and attendees should be prepared to peruse the merchandise offered by local vendors. So fantastic. If you know one thing about shopping with local vendors, man, you know they got the hookup with, like, whatever you need. I do it all the time at farmers markets and at local events in Colorado Springs. Man, I get the best soaps. I get the best oils. I get the best fruit and vegetable from local vendors, man, because they know what to sell. They know what they're producing. They know their worth. Period. So, hello, calling for Mr. Browning. Calling for Mr. Browning. Okay. The best part, admission is totally free. Totally free, man. It doesn't get any better than this, man. Don't get no better. 5 Points is in the midst of a major transformation, and Harris is optimistic that Juneteenth will be a catalyst for the community to get excited about the development of 5 Point landmarks, the Rosonian Hotel, and the 5 Points Plaza. Yo, if you haven't been to 5 Points, man, please don't sweat. I mean, you're gonna hear rumors. You're gonna hear, well, there's gangs down there. There's there's black people down there. They don't know how to act. Listen, major shows happen down there. 5 Points up there. I've been to a few shows, man. Ty Dolla Sign, Currency. Rest in peace, Sean Price. Amazing, man. I have amazing times up there, down there. I have friends I've seen there, man. It's a great time. So please don't let the naysayers and the puppies talk you into staying home and warming up and cuddling with your boo safe and sound. Don't do it. Don't let it happen. You're the best, and you deserve better than that. You deserve to be out here getting it. All right. I don't know what that is. It's just me. Which represent, okay, so the Rosonian Hotel and the 5 Points Plaza, which represent the storied past and the bright future of this historic neighborhood. We have a legacy, quote unquote, Harris. We have a legacy to protect, he says, with hopes that the community will rise to the occasion. Ooh! And come out in droves and take pride in supporting a celebration of history. In order for us to take back what we are really owed on 5 Points, we need to have a higher level of unity. I want Juneteenth, along with the other community festivals we are producing, to literally be one of the anchors for culture and life that's happening in the neighborhood. End quote. Juneteenth is an event that recognizes how far we've come while reminding us that there are no limits to how far we can go together. This has been a Cowabunga presentation. Urban Spectrum from Denver. Oh, yeah. Come to Juneteenth 2020. Ooh, it's gonna be good for you, honey. Listen, no matter what color you are, no matter your views, it's about freedom. The real freedom. And I just want to share that with you. I'm sending this to my friends. I'm sending this to my family. I'm sending it to people who are local. I'm sending it to people who are across the world. I mean, because this is www. Can pretty much reach anybody. So look, Juneteenth 2020, man. Mark your calendars. You got plenty of time. And I'm urging you because I'm going. Because last year, I can't believe I missed this. I can't believe I missed this one, man. Kayla Ray was performing. She's big time. J Triple, I can't believe he showed up, man. It's so tight. He's from the Springs, man. At least if this is the right J Triple, man. Oh, damn. Anyway, show up and check out Spectrum, Urban Spectrum on Denver. I'm pretty sure they got a website. If you're local, then you know where you can get this from. Black-owned businesses. Take one, grab one, read it, and especially John Platt right now. This guy, the biggest name in music, as far as executive producing, like projects. He's a CEO of Sony and ATV Music. He came from Denver. He came from 5 Points area. So don't let anybody tell you what's possible, because this dude's made it. Sharing it with you, man. Hey, let's get it going. Cowabunga Joff, I'm out. I'll catch you on the flip.